There's a certain irony in how people talk about Bitcoin. Every few years, someone steps up and warns that it's a scam, a trap, or a tool of control. Yet each time, these warnings say more about our fear of losing control than about Bitcoin itself. Just this month, Tucker Carlson reignited that fear. Once a vocal admirer of Bitcoin's decentralization, he's now calling it a scam run by elites. I mean, what the heck, man? He speculates that Bitcoin might even be a CIA creation, pointing to Satoshi Nakamoto's anonymity as proof of hidden power.
The creator of Bitcoin, this mysterious guy who apparently died, but nobody knows who he was. I grew up in DC primarily in a government family, so CIA. That's my guess. Can't prove it, but you're telling me to invest in something whose founder is mysterious and has billions of dollars of unused Bitcoin. What is that? And no one can answer the question, including some of the biggest holders of Bitcoin in the world. Do I know personally? They're like, oh, it doesn't matter. It matters to me.
His words hit the usual notes: mystery equals manipulation, the unknown equals danger. It's a familiar tune in a culture conditioned to distrust what it doesn't control. But the truth is the opposite of his fear. Bitcoin's creator may be unknown, yet its code has been known to the world for 15 years. Every line has been dissected by cryptographers, economists, and independent developers across the globe. If there were any hidden backdoors or central authority, they would have been exposed long ago. Its transparency is total, and Tucker Carlson probably hasn't ever read the white paper, let alone even studied Bitcoin at all. Satoshi Nakamoto's anonymity isn't a weakness, it's what ensures Bitcoin belongs to no one. There's no founder to arrest, no corporation to pressure, no CEO to corrupt. After all, Carlson's skepticism isn't coming from nowhere. His family history runs very close to the world he now condemns. His late father, Richard Carlson, served as a director of Voice of America during the Cold War and a U.S. ambassador to the Seychelles, position that worked hand in hand with U.S. intelligence, even if not formally under the CIA. Now, Tucker himself once admitted he applied to join the CIA.
And so when I applied to CIA, and I've taken a lot of crap, including from Putin, oh, you're from a CIA family. Well, yeah, obviously my father worked in conjunction with CIA. I mean, that's what that is. And I tried to join the CIA, but I'm not being false about it. Native talent. And he's attacking my dad as a CIA, his dad's in the CIA or whatever. And I'm like, well, that's no, untrue. Then my father dies, and I learn, actually, yeah, was involved in that world. I was completely shocked by it. So no one has to believe me, but that's just a fact.
Right.
In other words, the agency he now warns could be secretly controlling Bitcoin is the very one he once wanted to work for. Interesting. Earlier this month, a college student accused him of hypocrisy, suggesting that his family's background made him a new anti-Bitcoin suspect. He lashed out, calling his father a wonderful man, visibly angry at the suggestion of CIA ties. That outburst spoke volumes. It's a strange duality, distrusting power publicly while privately defending proximity to it. And that's what makes his argument about Bitcoin so freaking hollow. He criticizes it for anonymity. His whole family life has been shaped by institutions built on secrecy. Bitcoin's open source nature couldn't be further from that world. It has no classified documents, no unaccountable committees, no hidden gatekeepers. Anyone can run a node, verify a transaction, and inspect its entire code. Its entire foundation rejects the need to trust in people like Tucker or anyone else. Bitcoin doesn't exist to comfort the powerful, it exists to remove the need for them. And this is where the story gets interesting, because Tucker isn't alone. Every few years, a new round of critics emerge, each echoing the same doubt in different words. It's almost like they all work together, right? Back in 2017, JP Morgan's Jamie Dimon called Bitcoin a fraud.
Crypto.
If you mean crypto like Bitcoin, I've always said it's a fraud. It's a Ponzi scheme. It's a public, decentralized. Bitcoin itself has no intrinsic value. It's used heavily by sex traffickers, money launderers, ransomware.
A few years later, JP Morgan launched its own crypto desk and built JPM Coin for institutional settlements. The technology Dimon dismissed forced his own industry to evolve. His insult ended up proving Bitcoin's core principle, that permissionless systems will always outlast gatekeepers. Elon Musk's journey tells a similar story. In 2014, he dismissed Bitcoin as a tool for crime.
My opinion of Bitcoin is that, I think Bitcoin is probably a good thing. I think it's primarily going to be a means of doing illegal transactions. But that's not necessarily entirely bad. It's not, some things maybe shouldn't be illegal.
In 2021, he criticized the energy use and halted Tesla's Bitcoin payments, then months later called it fundamentally brilliant. That's his own words, praising how it anchors digital value to physical energy. What he first saw as a waste, he later recognized as security. Proof of work isn't a flaw, it's what makes Bitcoin incorruptible. Mark Cuban mocked Bitcoin, saying it had less utility than a banana, yet now he accepts it for Dallas Mavericks tickets and calls it a better store of value than gold. Larry Fink of BlackRock called it a money laundering index.
I don't have a strong opinion on Bitcoin.
I heard you say you thought it was a...
I said I believe it is an index for money laundering.
Only to later file and operate one of the world's largest Bitcoin ETFs. Even Michael Saylor, who has some of the most Bitcoin anybody's ever held before, once predicted Bitcoin's demise. In 2013, he compared it to gambling. A decade later, he calls it the future of corporate reserves. That's what makes Bitcoin so unique. The very act of questioning it leads people to learn how it works, and that journey from skepticism to understanding is how the network grows. Psychologists would call this cognitive dissonance, the discomfort of realizing the world might not work the way that we were taught. For most of us, money has always meant government, central banks, and control from above. Bitcoin flips that idea completely around. It says value can exist without authority and truth can exist without permission. For many, that's too foreign to trust at first, okay? Others react to ambiguity. Satoshi Nakamoto's anonymity feels threatening to people used to leadership and hierarchy. They mistake the absence of a face for the presence of deceit. But the absence of identity is what freed Bitcoin from the fate of every other monetary experiment before it. By walking away, Satoshi protected the network from capture. That silence became a gift of independence. Even the fear of volatility, often labeled too risky, reflects how deeply we've been conditioned to see stability as safety. But the fiat system isn't stable. It's managed volatility hidden behind monetary policy. Bitcoin doesn't hide it. It lets the market decide openly and transparently. It's the honesty of chaos versus the illusion of control. This pattern repeats everywhere. Every time someone calls Bitcoin wasteful, criminal, or a bubble, they end up describing the very traits that make it work. When critics say it's used by criminals, they're acknowledging that it's permissionless. When they call it volatile, they're admitting it's a free market. When they complain about energy use, they're recognizing the cost of real security. Every attack doubles as explanation of its design. That's why Bitcoin has outlasted its critics. It doesn't fight them. It absorbs them, right? Every misunderstanding becomes part of the story. Proof that the idea is bigger than the people debating it. And while the world argues, Bitcoin just keeps doing what it's done since 2009. It produces a block every 10 minutes. It doesn't speed up for praise or slow down for doubt. It doesn't ask who's watching or who approves. It doesn't care if the price is $1 or $100,000. It simply operates. That's what true decentralization looks like. By 2025, Bitcoin's market cap crossed $2 trillion again, despite every prediction of failure. Not because a government endorsed it or a celebrity hyped it, but because millions of ordinary people chose it. That's the quiet evolution no headline can capture. Money that doesn't belong to anyone, yet works for everyone. Every criticism, every crash, every misunderstanding that only refine what Bitcoin represents. Each wave of skepticism is like pressure against steel. It doesn't weaken the design, it hardens it. The more it's tested, the more it proves what cypherpunks knew all along. Truth does not need authority, it only needs time. Bitcoin doesn't ask to be believed in, it doesn't need defenders, and it doesn't seek validation. It just keeps proving itself one block at a time. That's the quiet beauty of it. Truth that operates without permission. And as more people question it, study it, or even fight it, like Tucker, they all end up participating in the same process, discovery through verification. That's what the cypherpunks always understood. Freedom doesn't come from trust, it comes from proof. If you like what you heard, check out learningcrypto.com so you can even get a better understanding about Bitcoin. And if you do want to see one of the best books available for you to really understand who the cypherpunks were, who Satoshi probably was, check out Why Crypto by Heidi. I definitely recommend that book. It is one of the best tools for you to learn about Bitcoin. Talk to you guys soon.